Hello. If you're watching this clip right now, it means that you've enrolled in an online history course at Mountain View College. My name is Dr. Ryan Pettengill, and I'll be your professor for the next few weeks. What I'd like to do in this segment is acquaint everyone with the requirements, guidelines, and expectations for the semester. Now, the first thing that I'd like you to do, if you have not yet done so already, go ahead and put me on pause, and I'd like you to print out or at least follow along with a copy of the syllabus. Now, you can find a copy if you go to the information section, the information link of Blackboard. Look at the left-hand side of the screen and you'll see information. One of the first things after you click that, one of the first things that should pop up is a course syllabus. Download a copy and follow along with me. The first thing I'd like to do is point out how do you get in contact with me. Best way, easiest way is email. I check the email account that you see at the top of the page there regularly, and usually if you get me a message before 3 o'clock Monday through Thursday, I'll probably respond the same day. A little bit slower in the evenings and especially on the weekends. There is a phone number on there that you can call if you would like. Can't guarantee that I'll answer it, but I will return your voicemail either with a call myself or typically through email. I also do hold office hours on the campus of Mountain View College. I'm in W243, W as in West 243. I would highly encourage you to make an appointment ahead of time before you show up. It's far easier for me to meet you if I know when and when you're coming. Okay. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the reading list. And I've got some good news, what I think will be perceived as good news for most of you. There's only really one book that I absolutely have to have you buy, and that would be Documents for America's History. It's big, it's blue, it's got a picture of the March on Washington on it. And the good news about that book is it's pretty affordable. I want to say it goes between $13 and $20. If you can find it cheaper wherever, you don't have to buy it from our bookstore, more power to you. The next book that you're going to maybe need, maybe not, but maybe, would be America's History. It's just called America's History. It looks a lot like the Documents for America's History, except for that March on Washington photo is a little bit larger. So that's more or less a textbook. It's a this happened and this happened and this happened, really boring textbook. It's a good textbook and certainly a very good tool to have in your arsenal for studying and doing well in the course. But recently I have linked most, if not all, of my lectures to this site, and so therefore you should be able to get most of the information from me. That being said, if you still like supplemental material, if you're not a very good note taker when it comes to lectures, the book is an excellent thing to have. The only problem with it is it's a little bit expensive. I want to say the cheapest version I've seen, and when I say cheap I mean ebook, it's electronic, and I mean renting, would be about $60, and I like to pride myself on getting students out of this class for $40 or cheaper. The next book that you need, you already have, even if you don't know that you have it. It's The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Now, I have uploaded a copy of this in the online texts folder of Blackboard, and again, if you click information, one of the things that you're going to see, I believe it's right underneath the syllabus, would be online texts. Open that up and you're going to see a copy of The Jungle inside. It's a PDF, so you can read it on a tablet, you can read it on a computer or laptop. If you've got access to cheap or free printing, you can print it out and read it that way too. Okay, so I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you start reading Upton Sinclair's The Jungle very, very soon. Lastly, you need a copy of Timothy Tyson's Blood Done Sign My Name. This is a relatively common book, and you can purchase it at our bookstore for, it's under $20, I can tell you that much. I would be surprised if you couldn't find it at a place like Half Price Books. It's pretty common, and of course you'll probably be able to find it there for cheap. Okay, and of course there's always Amazon, half.com, all those good things. So that's the reading list. That's the only thing that I need you to purchase this semester. Everything else that we're going to be doing is right here online. And while I'm at it, every assignment that we do, every exam that we complete, every paper that we turn in will be completed and submitted online. There's nothing that you need to physically hand in to me. Okay? The next thing that I'd like to do is point out the course evaluations, how you get to an A in this course. I want everybody to get an A in this course, and there are very, very accessible ways of getting A's in this course. First thing that you can do to really maximize your performance is the discussion forums. Now, if you look again underneath information, you should see a button called Discussions. If you click it, it's going to take you to the discussion forum. Okay. Now, each week you're going to be required to complete one of these discussion forums. As a matter of fact, you've got to complete at least one for this week. So what that is our participation aspect of the grade. Now, of course, we can't meet to discuss these issues that we're talking about as a collection of students, but what we can do is the next best thing. If you read through some of these posts, some of your fellow classmates' posts, it'll get your brain moving in the right direction. And what you can say is, I agree with Bill in the sense that the United States is freer today in 2014 or 2015 than when it was when we first began the class in 1877. But I disagree in this way and this way. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So what this essentially is the discussion, participation, class, group discussion portion of our class. Okay. This is going to be worth a cumulative of 15 percentage points for the course. It's relatively sizable, and the best part is you're in charge of it, you're in control of it. You'll see at least one per week. The next best way to maximize your performance here would be the quizzes. Now, quizzes is probably not the greatest term to use for this requirement, considering they are all open book and they are all untimed. You're going to see at least 5 over the course of the semester. And of these 5, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point you to a very specific document or a very specific link on Blackboard, and it's going to ask you to evaluate that document and use that document to answer an open-ended question for the quiz. Typically, if I see that you've clearly read the document that I'm asking you to read and you actually thought about the central question, usually I'll give you a full 3 out of a possibility of 3 points. So again, you're going to see 5 of these things. Each of them are worth 3 points apiece for a grand total of 15 percentage points for the course. The next requirement is going to become more difficult, considerably more difficult. Over the course of the semester, you will see 2 papers. Each of them are worth 10 percentage points for a grand total of 20 percentage points. The papers are going to be based on your 2 readings, Upton Sinclair's The Jungle and Timothy Tyson's Blood Done Sign My Name. That's why it's so important to read those 2 texts. Okay? Now, you're going to have, as a matter of fact, you already do have access to the questions that I'll ask you in the paper. You're just going to need some familiarity with not only the text, but the background information as well. So, for example, in Sinclair, Upton Sinclair, it's really important that you have an understanding of what industrialization did to the American working class, what it was like to live in inner city Chicago in the 1890s, how that made its presence felt when it comes to quote unquote making it in the United States during that period. Okay. Again, 2 papers for a total of 20 percentage points for the semester. Lastly, you will have 1 midterm exam and you will have 1 final exam. Each of them are worth 25 percentage points. The exams are going to consist of a combination of multiple choice questions, short answer essay questions, and 1 long answer essay question. Now, for everything that you need to write, meaning the short answers and the long answer essays, you will know what I'm going to ask you a long time before I actually ask it of you. As a matter of fact, it should be in the exam folder, both a midterm and final exam study guide, review guide, that you will see everything that requires you to actually write. You're going to see what I'm going to ask you basically on the inception of the class. The point of this assignment is not to get you to memorize useless information. The point is to get you to really think critically about the question. What do you really think about the idea of freedom expanding over the course of the 20th and early 21st century? Do you think that it expanded or has it contracted? I need you to use evidence and evaluate that evidence and be critical of that evidence and explain what the big picture all means. Okay? That is the course in a nutshell. For the remainder of the video link here, I would like to explain to you how the site itself works. Once again, if you mouse over, if you're looking at the screen right now, you're going to see a combination of links at the left-hand side. Everything that you need is going to be right there. You're going to see information, and I've pointed out what's in information, syllabus and otherwise. You will see something called content, right? Content is really important considering it's going to have all of my lectures in there. So if you click video lectures, it's going to be broken down into 3 units, 1, 2, and 3. If you click on Unit 1, you're going to see every lecture that I'm going to give you for the first part of the semester. Same thing with Unit 2 and Unit 3. Next to video lectures, you're also going to see PowerPoint presentations. These are the presentations that I would give you if you were meeting for a lecture class. In other words, if we were having this class face-to-face, it's the exact same lecture that I would give you. Okay? What I would recommend is if you had the time, go ahead and sit down and watch my lectures. And as you watch them, as you're listening to me, go ahead and have that PowerPoint up as well and kind of follow through on that. The PowerPoints aren't a word-for-word replica of the lecture, but they are the next best thing in the sense that they are a nice roadmap. It's a nice, easy way to break down and digest the lecture. It's not just somebody talking at you. I would very much recommend that you take advantage of the video lectures. It's essentially the narrative, the what happened, when it happened, who was involved, and why it's important. Okay, so I'd very much recommend that. The other thing that I would very much recommend that you do, it's actually not recommended, it's required, is to watch the Transforming America documentary series. Each week you'll be required to watch at least a few of the lessons for this. So if you click, it's also in information. If you click the Transforming America link, it's going to take you to a site that will ask you which lesson would you like to watch. And so just at random, if you clicked on lesson 19, which is about the Vietnam War, you are going to go through approximately a half-hour documentary that discusses Vietnam, what it was, how it started, what it meant for American foreign policy, what it meant to American domestic politics, what it meant to presidential politics. So that's not only a good way of really understanding the course material, it's also a really good way of being able to add something to your paper, being able to add evidence to your paper. Okay. In addition to everything that I've discussed in content, you're also going to see that the left-hand side of the screen, all those links are where your assignments are located. The paper assignments are there, the exams are there, the quizzes are there, the discussion forum is there. So every day that you log in, and I would encourage you to log in often, what you're going to want to do is click on the quiz to make sure that there's not a quiz that's due or when your next quiz is going to be due. Same thing with the papers. And the other thing that's a really good idea is to check the syllabus regularly. Now typically I try to give you an email reminder when something is due, a discussion forum is due, or a paper is due. I don't always get to it. Just like you, I've got other things going on in my life, and even though I try very hard to remind myself to get you those reminders out there, sometimes it gets away from me. So anyway, a really good way of keeping up with the course is to refer to the syllabus really daily And if not that, go ahead and log on regularly and just take a look and see, is there a quiz due? Is there a discussion forum due? Is there a paper due? When's the next exam due? So, with that being said, that's really all I've got for you when it comes to this introduction. Looking forward to working with all of you, looking forward to a productive semester. If there's anything that I've said that does not make sense, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'd be glad to take your questions and return those answers to you in a timely fashion. That's all for right now. Please stay tuned because there will be more to come.